This is the Marcia Week Show, and we're coming to you live from Barbados.
Good afternoon, Caribbean and the world. This is Marcia Weeks, and we are so excited today because we're talking about athletics, we're talking about sports, we're talking about road tennis. And some of you who are watching me, if you're not Barbadian, you're going to be trying to figure out what is road tennis. And so we're going to define what road tennis is and show you a little video about what road tennis is all about. Let me just take the time to welcome those who are watching from on Carib Vision. We want to say a big thank you to Carib Vision for carrying us live. And those of you who are watching on our YouTube channel, on the Africa Bridge TV channel, welcome. And those who are watching on Facebook, welcome. Today it's an exciting show. And we have some surprise guests for you. I know we advertised that the former Minister of Culture, Youth and Sports, Minister Lashley, would have been with us, but he's had some challenges, and so he's not going to be able to be with us. But we're going to have him very soon. Okay, so he's very eager about coming on. So we're going to chat with him a little later. But he had some circumstances beyond his control today, and he's not going to be able to make it on. But we have with us Ryan Brathwaite, man, and Ryan Brathwaite, who remember 2009. When we had Barbados had a gold medal in the 110-meter hurdles, and that was Mr. Ryan Brathwaite, one of my favorite people in the world. So humble. And so he's going to be on. He's right there waiting to come on. And we might have the very frank Mike Cummins. Mike is going to have something to say about this road tennis for sure. And so stay tuned, guys. It's going to be very exciting. But before Ryan comes, I want to educate some of us about road tennis, because I know that a lot of us, we don't know about road tennis. Even people in Barbados, even Barbadians are not, might not even know the history of road tennis. But I'm interested in road tennis really because it's indigenous to Barbados. Road tennis is a variation of tennis that was invented in Barbados in the 1930s by primarily local working class Barbadians who could not afford to play lawn tennis. Though mainly concentrated in the island nation of Barbados, it has been since further introduced to California and the wider Caribbean. Were you aware of that? That road tennis, it was introduced in California and in places in parts of the Caribbean. It is often played on public residential roads or at schools, community centers, and recreational areas around the island, where most road tennis courts are located either on the asphalt or concrete pavement surfaces. And you could, wherever in Barbados, especially summertime, you would see they have it marked out in the street and people are playing road tennis. The equipment, what is used? The game is played using 2 wooden rackets and 1 tennis ball with the fur removed. An 8-inch plank net, wood net actually, is used on the court or road, which requires 21 by 10 feet of space to play. The rules: the first player to gain 21 points is declared the winner. There are no volleys in the game, and the server alternates after 5 points have been scored. Similar to table tennis, each serve must bounce once in the server's court. Some popular competitions include the Monarch of the Court in Barbados. The governance for the sport is the Professional Road Tennis Association. So there is a road tennis association here in Barbados. And hi, good afternoon, Mr. Hoyt. Please share the live for us. But I think that this is an important topic, and I know you guys will find it interesting. I also want to show just a little bit of what it looks like, because the first time I saw road tennis was when I came to Barbados. And so I would like for just to show people what it looks like. So let me just show you a little bit of it and the excitement. I remember going to my first match, first road tennis match, and it was quite exciting. So let's just watch a little bit of it before we start the conversation.
Griffith brings it back down with a perfect shot. Alright, serving 50. He's way down. He really has to dig deep.
And he looks tired too.
I know, because he anticipated that he can win in 3 games as quickly as possible. The ball is back in his face again, and he hits that out. How much that is? He said 9 serving 15. We couldn't see that injection. It probably was in.
He has to win
15,
all 5.
15 serving 10. This
is
crucial.
He is killing it.
It is. Yeah. He needs to get at least 2 points from this service. 15-10. Dear Raleigh. 15 serving 11. No straight on the end for goodness still. 15-11.
Well, guys, that is just a little bit of the road tennis, and we see how it's played. It almost looks like table tennis, and it's exciting. I'm telling you, we just have it up on the screen there a little bit, so you can get the feel of it. And we're going to invite into our studio Mr. Ryan Brathwaite. Welcome, sir. How are you?
Thank you for inviting me. I'm fine, thank you. Thanks for inviting me. Today has been a very busy day. Well, started to be busy this morning for me. So I'm glad to be in this show and talk about whatever needs to be talked about with sports, and yeah.
Yes, and Mr. Brathwaite, as I told you, he is a retired, I'm just using that word, a professional athlete, and who was Barbados' gold winner in 2009 at the World Championship for the 110-meter hurdle. Now, someone might say, you are into athletics. What do you know about road tennis? What would you say? Have you played it before?
Yes, as a country boy coming from live in St. Andrew, yes, I did play road tennis. I can remember we used to use the bricks and a long coconut, the coconut leaf as the net, and we used to play. And it's it's a good sport. There's a lot of movement. You gotta work on a lot of biomechanics. You work everything on your body actually by playing it. So I enjoyed it. That actually helped me with my track and field career too, because I used to play road tennis, soccer, cricket. These are things that help me get better myself and be involved in other sports. So
So you're saying even though you did athletics and I mean you did so great at it, you were still playing road tennis. And
Yeah,
you mentioned something. You said back in you're a country boy. So do you think this is something that is played mainly in the country areas in Barbados?
it's a community. Let me just say in the right way, it's a community sport that helps. It brings people uh, to connect, network together. You know, guys at the shop will come and watch you play right in front of the shop. You will draw out a court right there, paint out the court, you know, and from there people will be coming and watching and getting involved. So it's a good entertaining sport. It's very entertaining, just like lawn tennis, just like table
Yes.
tennis. Is a great entertaining sport, and it's something that I think should get expose itself out there more. So yeah.
Yes, yes. I remember, as I said, watching it, and you know, it was just so. It was really, really, really so. Just so exciting being there. I'd never seen anything like that before, and really exciting. And so, you know, there is talk right now about the sport becoming Olympic ready. And there's a newspaper article that I'm going to read a little later in the program. But there is talk about that, and I know that you're someone who is not just you don't you're not just an athlete, but you've studied sports and you
Yes.
work in the area now as a professional. And so I was curious, what do you see? What do you see as the future of road tennis? And do you think
Um.
that it could ever be Olympic ready?
Well, you have to do a lot of research, as maybe you know they have been doing a lot of research, a lot of networking. I think starting from marketing it out more in a way
Mm-hmm.
that ours is to showcase more outside of the country, which they may be doing. And I think, you know, it's all about investors looking at how to get investors involved to help boost the sport. So it
Mm-hmm.
would be like, you know, can you can you explain to me this sport not just in writing? Oh well, this sport you play hit this ball on the other side of the component is basically the biomechanics of it. A lot of companies and sponsors base it on the biomechanics. What can it help with the player? What can it do? Like
Mm.
basketball helps a lot of. They do a lot of like shuttle runs from place to there. Soccer is a long how to say soccer is long like their stamina and playing for a whole hour is like it's just basically the biomechanics of it, like body movements. Like what can it do? Can this improve you? Can this beat you down? Like track and field, hurdles. Like hurdles help with flexibility,
Mm-hmm.
you know, stuff like that. Sprinting is a you know, it gives you explosion out of the blocks and you know maintains the muscles and creates fast twitch. So table tennis now is you need to explain the biomechanics of it to investors so that they would understand the sport and can promote it more or be part of it. You know,
Mm-hmm.
there's many ways that you can actually get it out there, and table tennis is a really really good sport, and it's
You
just
mean
all
road
about.
tennis? Road
Sorry,
tennis.
I say road tennis. My
Yeah.
apology. Road
Yeah.
tennis is, you know, the sport needs to be marketed. You need to put tons of investment into marketing that would get it out there. Not only that, but to get companies like shoe companies to come in and design a prototype of what type of shoes you need to wear on certain surfaces or whatever texture that you need for the court. This is stuff that
Mm-hmm.
you need to break down into a proposal when you're going forward with these investors.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And so you're saying, let's go back to the what you were saying, that what they're looking for, the biomechanics of it. So are you saying that with with road tennis that we have not yet processed and understood the biomechanics
Uh,
of road tennis?
Not really. It's not that, but it's just more of, you know, get, companies look at different sporting disciplines when it comes to biomechanics. Like this involves shoe companies. They have shoes for lawn tennis. They have shoes for
Right.
golf. They have equipment for certain stuff. So I think that what we need to do in Barbados for road tennis is to get some prototypes of what they need to put forward and see what if it can come join together with companies to help brand it with shoes. We already make rackets in Barbados, which is a good thing. I think now it's to step up the technology in terms of getting equipment out there that you can showcase. Um, I think last year, not last year, about 2 years ago, actually saw they had a new road tennis ball that I was pretty amazed about it, um, and which is a good thing. I like what they're doing, but it's not just all about marketing and pushing it out there. I think you just can't market it in Barbados, or if any people come in, you can't just market it like that. Marketing don't work like that because people forget about it. So I think pushing it out there would be good, and if the government could even help push it some more, that would be great.
Well, I mean, right now, the government. I'm here. I'm going to. There's an article that I'm going to be reading about what the government is saying, that they're working on it to get it Olympic ready. But I was looking at an article today, and the article is saying in order for any sport to become Olympic ready, there are lots of things that they have to do.
Yes,
And
there's a
one
lot
of
of
them is that, for example, it will have to be a sport that is played in, I think, like 75 different countries. You
it
know,
can yes, it can happen. It can happen, but as I was telling you, you need to go there and introduce it in marketing, the history of it, how it's played. We need to showcase, like get the best players out in Barbados and travel and showcase the sport. Set up some showcase areas. Like for instance, if tourism is doing this tourism launch with their festival for travel for crop over, I think we need to get that involved in that too at the same time. So everything that every marketing strategies that maybe the Barbadian tourism have, they should get
right.
involved in to showcase not only food, wine, whatever. They need to showcase also sports.
Mm, I see what you're
You
saying.
understand?
So
Yeah.
you're saying that in order for it, because one of the major criteria for it to become an Olympic sport is that people are playing the sports within their own countries,
Yes.
right?
We
And
need to
I think
showcase it
I'm
out there.
looking right, and you're saying that you're seeing where the tourism is going to play a huge role in that they are promoting the sports, not just not just the sea and the sand and the food, but
Exactly.
but that they're actually um, showcasing people playing the sport. Interesting. Do you
Yeah.
think we could go ahead?
There's a lot of strategies that you can go ways of you can get this on board. It's just a matter of fact of just instead of talking it, just start doing it and push it out there. Like it's a lot. Like for me, being working with a lot of companies like Adidas and some other nice companies that I've been working with, and you know they like to see like you make things happen. Like show me what this can do.
Mm-hmm.
Show me
Mm-hmm.
this can happen, and we are on board. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
all about just proving to investors that this is the next step. I have the right proposal when it comes to a new sport. Like you need to
Mhm.
have everything, rules. We need to create now like an online referee course that Barbados can teach people to be a referee or teach people to have the sport. Yes, there's a lot of road tennis players out there, a lot of talent. And I think
Mhm.
it's a really good sport that should be in the Olympics. But as I said, you have to make sure that the back end of it is very strong so that the associations they can approve what they need to do.
I see Mr. Mike Cummings is here. He's a former coach and he's on. But just before he comes up, I wanted to read what I found online by the Olympic Association. It's the Olympic Charter actually indicates that in order to be accepted, a sports must be widely practiced by men in at least 7 countries and on 4 continents, and by women in no fewer than 40 countries and on 3 continents. Let's read that again: 75 countries and on 4 continents. So the sports must be practiced. And by women in no fewer than 40 countries and on 3 continents. The question is, will we ever be able to get road tennis? Where's that noise coming in? There's a noise coming in on your mic, Mike Cummins. There's a noise coming in on your mic. Yeah. Right. The question is, will we ever be able to say that road tennis is being played in 75 countries and 4 continents? And that is what Ryan is saying, that it's, we can always talk about Olympics and road tennis, but it's going to call for a lot of marketing and a lot of push. Let me hear what Mr. Cummins is saying. Mike Cummins. He's not there.
Yeah, I think there's a part that is not read in that statement. It must be a sport that is popular in the United States first, because if it is not popular in the United States, Ryan, I don't think that they're going to put money into it at all, and they're not going to be interested
That
in including this
Leon,
in the Olympics. I don't think so. I think there's an
that was
unspoken rule,
said
that
that they
there's an
have,
unwritten rule.
but they have to market. They have to market it and go there. It can't happen right away. I definitely know for sure it cannot happen right away. It
It
can't.
is,
It can take
yeah.
a long time.
There are so many other sports ahead of road tennis that they've been trying to
Exactly.
get in the Olympics. I mean, this is so, to me, trying to even think about getting into the Olympics is laughable, to be quite honest. And I think we could put some more money behind some of our track and field athletes, our swimmers,
I
and
agree.
dream more about those than thinking about getting the road tennis in the Olympics. To me, that
But
means absolutely nothing.
but
If
but
we even were
but
to win a
but
gold
Mike, you're
medal
saying it means
even if we were to
nothing.
win
But
a
to
gold medal, just a
Barbadians,
minute, even if we were to
uh-huh.
win a gold medal, yeah, but in the scope of things, Barbados is only a dot in the world, and Barbados only has one bronze medal. We can't call any shots at this stage. We don't have any clout really, and we just dreamers. And there's nothing wrong with being a dreamer, but that's where we are right now. We're now learning now how to back our athletes. We had opportunities when we had Oba and Andre and those to come forward to step up to the plate, and all we were doing was as people would say pusharking. So one body pushed to the right, next body pushed to the left, but we never really fully understood.
Let's jump on the
We,
wagon.
we never understood how to back athletes. We never understood professional sports, and I
Right
don't
now, we
know.
don't
Even now, I'm here to talk. Like, for example, they're saying that the national stadium is going to be built this year, started built this year. This is what, no, March,
impossible.
April. I've already
Impossible.
seen or heard much happening. Even if it was to stop building between now and next year, and they say they're going to have a break, No, Kadir, Barbados is going to have approximately 6 athletes at the Olympics. And those athletes that are making the grade, they're not going to come to Barbados to train. So where you going to stop? Where you going to stop building the national stadium for to accommodate 6 athletes? So to me, the thinking is still backward. To me, they still don't
It is
understand how this thing works. I don't know if Ryan will share my view.
not a sports, not even a sports policy. Up to now, we don't have the position. We're not in the position to do anything really in Barbados when it comes to the sports industry, because we just talk it, and then it goes in a circle. Back again, rewind, keep rewinding, back this, back then, back then. We need to step up, put ourselves out there, sit down, work on a policy that can help athletes and coaches. Because there's the two main things. Athletes and coaches need to be on the same level and help with development. We have no development in Barbados. There's none. Because we can't create it.
Look,
The stadium supposed to be every sense with investors. There's so much investors up there. Up to last week, I was talking to an investor that would look to invest in Barbados, rebuild the whole national stadium, and they haven't. They haven't.
And
So
why
it's
is
like,
that? Why is that, Ryan? Why they're not interested?
because it's all about what can we get instead of letting they get investors involved. That's the problem there.
Okay.
What
look,
I
look.
want, but we don't have to do the work.
Everybody has their own model, okay? But there are a lot of I remember the 1970s when it was talk about Barbados getting a national stadium to improve sports and so on. We had a national stadium in 1972. We have gotten a silver medal at the Pan Am from cycling. Apart from Barry and maybe one or two others, we had a sprinkling of medals on the cycling track here and there. And the track was supposed to help us develop cycling, that we were to become a world force power. We just talked the talk. We didn't understand what we had to do. Okay, so we messed up then. Facilities are important, but look, a lot of Jamaicans didn't have facilities before, and they still used to
Exactly.
medal at major games. So if it wasn't the facilities, what did you need to get to the next level? And Jamaica answered the question. Top quality coaching. Now, if we don't develop our coaching here in Barbados, give them the exposure, the experience, and to work with these top class coaches. If you don't do that, we're going to be spinning top and mud for the next 40 years.
I agree with you.
Well, yeah, Mike, I hear what you're saying, and I think that is so, what you're saying is so true. As a Jamaican, I remember when we didn't have any big facilities and or anything, people running on the street and down the road and on the beach and etc. And still winning medals. But let's just bring it back to road tennis. We're going to talk about athletics, but let's talk a little bit more about road tennis. And let's look at this clip here of the road tennis being played in, I think, Rwanda. Let's take a look at this.
Road tennis is a sport game that was newly introduced to Rwandans last year following the bilateral partnership between Rwanda and the West Indies country Barbados. The government of Rwanda has always encouraged sports and physical fitness amongst the people of Rwanda, and it is planning to expand the road tennis game to different parts of the country. Road tennis is often played in recreational areas and residential roads, and it can also be used to develop tennis talents and organize regional tournaments and attract tourists.
It has the way to attract more people, even Rwandese and even foreigners. It is easy to create opportunity and contribution to the tourism, even if you have many lodges in the Kigali and even across the country. So it not requires many infrastructure. So the people, as long as it approaches the community, so the people have received it very positively.
Barbados happens to be the home to the famous godfather of tennis, Dayton Parroch, and despite that road tennis is widely played in the island, it has also been introduced to other areas such as California, USA. Rwanda happens to be the first African country to adopt the sport, and its people have responded positively to it. I love playing this special game. Whenever I find time during evening hours, I come play this game. I'm happy with the concept of adapting a new game from another country. It's good to learn something new.
Sports officials say that the game is very affordable and can be played by anyone as long as the needed space is available. Dana Iriza in Kigali, Rwanda for African News.
Wow. As a Barbadian, listening to that and hearing that they have adopted that in road tennis in Rwanda as a part of their, what they do. I've been to Rwanda and they're very much on exercise and sports, etc. And to see them doing that, how does that make you feel as a Barbadian watching that, Ryan?
I actually feel good that is an exposure out there, but I know that it's not easy to get yourself out there. Basically, sorry for the change of
That's
environment
okay.
now, but yeah. So it's just hard. Like it's hard to continue to market out there with the sport.
But the government could say, look, we're doing it. It's in Rwanda. We're doing it.
Yeah, but it's in Rwanda, but that don't mean that everybody gonna continue to play the sport. That doesn't mean that. Rwanda is we just, like, for instance, we have ties now with Rwanda, but we can't just look at one place at doing it. We have to continue to, like, spread it across the world.
It's been to China.
We just can't one place. Yeah.
But how do we do that, Mike? So here we are. The government, we're saying that. Yeah, go ahead. How is it done? How are we to do that?
The government is doing it the right way through diplomatic channels. But Rwanda, in the scheme of things, is not a major player in the world of sports. Ghana, Nigeria, South Africa. Okay, if you go there, you might stand a better chance of getting more popularity and getting more traction. But I mean, I can't fault the government for trying, because it's also been to China before, and their vision is to try to make this an Olympic sport. And I'm saying, if you understood anything about world sports, you wouldn't even think or try to imagine getting road tennis to the Olympics yet. You would think about marketing it in America and different places first. But outside of all of that, okay, some years ago there was I think it was somebody from Taiwan who wanted to change the name to paddle sport. Okay, it didn't sit well with a lot of Bajans, but to me, that may have been the better way to go. Instead of calling it road tennis, to give it a more commercial sounding name. And they had also made some rackets which would have promoted the sport almost like tennis, what we used to call lawn tennis. Have the rackets looking a little bit more sophisticated, having the equipment looking a little bit more stylish, so that you could market it and sell it, and also create something that looks good, rather than something that looks average and looks like it comes from the village kind of thing, right? So to me, the people who are talking about taking it to that level, first of all, they don't understand how this thing works. And most times, and I'm not knocking politicians because they don't know any better, they're getting information from people around them who think they know. But to be quite honest, we are very amateur in terms of our approach to sports. And look, let me give you an example of if I could divert to another sport. And we also have to be careful. You talk about coaching, and you spoke about the athletes. But there's another component that we have to be very careful about, and that is the parents. Sometimes when the parents get involved, the parents think they know and try to supersede the coaches. And I know this upsets a lot of coaches because there's a particular situation where the parents got involved, and the choice of taking their athlete to this particular coach messed up the whole athlete, because this coach had no record of taking anybody to the Olympics to get a medal. But this coach wanted to turn this athlete and say, well, I was able to do this for this athlete, and mess up the athlete. The athlete is a shadow of what they used to be. And that was because the parents decided, oh, we're going to make a parental decision rather than at this point making a coaching decision, something that would have benefited the athlete and would have benefited the country. So these are things that we need to put in place. There are too many people who interfere with this kind of process. And I don't think Barbados really up to now, I don't think we are really ready. We are ready. We're not ready.
Yes, we're not ready. We're not ready at all, because as I said, like, for instance, you know how you might win a medal or do something really good, and you find all the newspapers got the athlete, congratulations, this. You know, you can't do that in America like that unless you get permission. You can be sued for free marketing athletes. We have no laws in sports in Barbados. There's none. No type of laws.
I would approach it differently, because we have, at young ages, we've had the next Gaddafi Sobers, we've had the next Obad, we have the next this, the next that. And these people, after a few years, they can't handle the pressure and they crack. We've not put systems in place to help them, and they crack. And we have lost so many. Do you know how many footballers we've lost to drugs? Do you know how many cricketers we've lost to drugs? And at age 17 and 18, they were so good. They were lighting up the stars, you know.
There were no guidance.
And look, we have too many issues. We have too many problems. And look, as a coach, as a school coach, if you had spent the amount of time dealing with discipline as you coach, you would be able to coach a superstar team with that time. Why is it that we have to spend so much time in the school system dealing with discipline and dealing with parents? Parents, to me, create most of the problems that we have when it comes to sports children. All right?
So Mike, let me stop you and ask you a question. In the schools, we're talking about promoting the road tennis to, overseas, starting with America, getting the road tennis there. The question is, though, do we push the road tennis within the school system in Barbados? Is it you're a teacher here?
All right. The trouble with road tennis is that everybody is home taught, so to speak. So let's say in my school, I would have a session and the best players would have a little competition, and the best player come out and they win the competition, so they will go and represent the school. But I'm not a professional table tennis, lawn tennis coach. Road tennis coach, because it's a new sport, and the government right now is trying to train coaches to which is a good thing, to help go through the community. But let me also say this: when you think in terms of the schools have so many programs. The schools have football, cricket, netball, basketball, and then the musicians come in now, and they want you to some of them want you to cheerleading, they want you to do calypso, they want you to do this, they want you to do that. And you know the bottom line of all, the offshoot of all of that, the children are learning nothing. The children, listen to me, the children are getting more and more dunksy every year. If you get children who are not learning, what's going to happen is you're going to get more deviance in the society, because the majority of children, people that are in prison, cannot read and write. And that is a problem. we're not dealing with these issues. Go ahead, ma'am.
So what you're saying is that there are enough activities already in the schools, and therefore they should not bother to bring in the road tennis. And if they do, you don't have enough coaches to coach it.
I don't know. I really don't know. If the government has a policy of pushing road tennis in the schools, good, fine, all well and good. But I can tell you this much: that if Ryan wins a gold medal at BSAC, that has more prestige than if you win a cup with road tennis.
Okay.
I am absolutely sure. I'm absolutely sure that in Jamaica and Trinidad, they would start school to have the finals. Everybody go and watch the football finals in Trinidad.
Mm-hmm.
That would never happen in Barbados. The only sport they're interested in Barbados is that track and field, because that has power for the principals. The principals have power in that. The principals would go and meet and eat and drink. That's a social gathering for them. It has a lot of status, and that's what Bajans are about: status.
So you're saying road tennis right now, Ryan, I think from what Mike is saying, does not have the kind of status as the other sports. And therefore parents would not push it, and children probably might not be interested in playing it, even if they try to introduce it in the schools. What are your thoughts about that?
Rich is right. Mark is right. And I said before, it's going to take a very, very long time if they really go the right path and let somebody come in and really help with marketing and help with development of it and help with training in schools. Like as Mark was saying, these children don't like to learn nothing. All they do is be on the phone or listen to some foolish music, and they ain't doing nothing else. It's like we don't have a program that they could go, but it could PE is just basically, you can just go PE, sit down or walk around the field, whatever.
I'm a PE teacher. I was a PE teacher, so I can't tell you that is all that there was, but I can tell you this much: there's so much that was packed into the PE program. There's a lot of theory now in the PE program, theory that takes away from the actual running and playing. So we're producing a lot of obese children now in the school system, because the teachers now have to teach theory, and not that is bad, but because that teaches you now, that shows you know what you're doing, what you have to do, but it takes away from the playing time. And as long as you take away from the playing time, the children who are leave school on evenings and go straight home, you're going to find that you're going to get an obese problem in Barbados. And that is exactly what we're producing in Barbados right now. The children don't play as many activities as they used to.
Mm-hmm.
So we got problems.
Well, Mike, it's a pity that the road tennis could not be something that is really pushed in the schools, because road tennis, when you watch that sport, you're using almost every part of your body. It would surely keep the children fit. But as you're saying, it's not something that they're going to aspire to do or desire to do, because it is not as known as athletics is.
It's a hobby, and I would tell you it would remain like that for a very long time. And if another feature is, most of the best players of Barbados are 30, 40, even 50. The ones who are 20, 30, it's going to take a while for them to get to that level. And by the time the 40, 50 are off the scene, the new generation now that's going to come up now, by that time, Rwanda might got somebody who's as good as Barbados, or China might got somebody as good as Bajan, and therefore we would have lost our priority. We would have lost our how to put it, our advantage, okay, on the world. So it's good that we want to promote it throughout the world, and it's like dominoes. We think that because we play dominoes that we can beat Jamaica, Guyana, whatever. But there's some Guyanese that beat Bajans now in dominoes, and we used to think that nobody could beat us in dominoes. But it is, world doesn't work. The world doesn't work like that anymore. You know. So why are we pushing it? Why are we pushing it? Because it is quote unquote a Bajan thing. Because that's all it could be right now.
But probably, I mean, it might need to happen that someone in China is able to play better than Bajans, or somebody in Rwanda. It might need to have that to happen for Barbadians to begin to realize how unique this is. I've been checking though, Mike and Ryan, and I have not found somebody's mic is really making a lot of noise. I'm not sure.
Maybe mine,
Let's turn a little bit and see. To say that I've been researching Mike and Ryan, and I've not found any indigenous sports in the Caribbean that is still being played. They had some of them that came in with indentured servants and so on, years ago, but we don't have, unless you guys know of one, that another country that has an active indigenous sport. Does anybody know of any?
I don't know. We could talk about Wari. Wari came from Africa.
Not really.
Not really.
But you're making a good point. But look, cricket started in England. Football started in England, basically. And how many World Cups has England won? You know, the other people in parts of the world have taken it to a different level. So chances are, if we were to get road tennis going to the other parts of the world, people start to engage things like nutrition and body calisthenics and all these different types of things that they normally throw into other sports. We can still be at the bottom. But road tennis is like table tennis, and is also like lawn tennis, or what they call tennis now, because they don't call it lawn tennis anymore, but they call it tennis. But it basically the same skills. I played all three. I enjoy playing all three. Road tennis is a lot of fun, but I also like to watch what we used to call lawn tennis. I also like to watch tennis, and some of the strokes, some of the plays, some of the movements, they're all related. They're all like cousins. So, but tennis has money in it. Road tennis has no money in it, so to speak. So it is hard for an American. It's going to be hard for an American parent now, who said they're going to be they want to be the next Serena Williams now. All right, to live off of that type of money. It's going to be hard for somebody to say they want to be a road tennis champion, because.
But Mike, I'm listening to you, and I'm saying it means that the sports, as Ryan was saying, is a lot of marketing that has to happen. We have to have a lot more places, not just Rwanda and California, but we need a lot more countries throughout the world. In fact, they say 75 countries need to be playing lawn tennis. Road tennis for it to happen. But there is a development that I think that needs to happen with the sport. But I heard you said it on the show that when the Chinese or the Taiwanese, when they tried to develop the sports, Barbadians rejected the development.
Mm-hmm.
So,
that's
so
like
why,
opportunities.
Why?
You don't leave out opportunities. That's the problem.
Because they just.
Let me hear Ryan. Ryan, what's your thought about that? Ryan.
When you leave opportunities out, and that's the problem in Barbados. When companies or any person who comes into Barbados introducing or trying to help to put the two dots together, we tend to decline it because we want, as Mark said, we want the glory, we want the power. We want that. That's for me. We want the name. We want to be at front of everything, but not do the work. That is the biggest issue in Barbados when it comes to not sports only, but anything else. We tend to want to just collect or jump on the bandwagon and it can all settle. But we don't have the mindset of getting out there and really promoting. Marketing, and Barbados is so weak with marketing. I am telling you, from tourism to sports to music, our marketing in Barbados is piss poor. It is.
You're talking you're talking about marketing, and Barbados's main motto is pride and industry. So you're asking Marcia why you're asking Marcia why Bajans objected to the name change. I think it was Wes Hall who was the minister at the time. Bajans didn't like paddle tennis because it didn't seem like it was part of us. Well, come up with another name. If you didn't want the Chinese or the Taiwanese to come and take the claim, come up with another creative name. Road tennis is, to me, road tennis is basic. It's not gonna cut it. And if it is road tennis, are you only going to play in the road? You're not going to play. You're not going to play in a park or. To me, we just don't understand. We just don't understand sports. We think too much about ourselves, our pride, and that is what it is. That is when we get these athletes coming up now. We start bigging them up. They're the next. But I know what it's like. I've had swimmers that I've written about, and age 14, and by the time they got 16, they got distracted with fellas. Girls got distracted with fellas and so on, and the swimming went down. So look, we got problems, and nobody's really dealing with the root of the problems right now. We think we know, but we really don't know. And I could tell you this because I've had exposure dealing with professional athletes before. I dealt with Otto Bolden. We were good friends, and also I interviewed the education minister in the Bahamas when the Caribbean Games were here, probably about 7 years ago. I learned a lot from him because this is what he told me. He said that 75% of the cabinet at the time in Bahamas were ex-athletes, and so they understood what were the needs of athletes. And as a result, they were able to put things in place. So during that time, they built a swimming pool, it is a very modern swimming pool. They also did the world had the relay meet. But you see, unless we understand that we need a national stadium, we need these international facilities, and then you're telling me that you're building it in phases, and who's constructing it and so on. I have question marks over all those things, because if you're building it piecemeal, that tells me that you don't understand. And I spoke to Esther Maynard, a few years ago, and she said there's nobody who's been in more national stadiums in the world than her. And she said up to this point, nobody has consulted her, nobody has asked her the needs, how to build it, what to put in it, and all of that. And I have problems in these things because we create a lot of parks, we create a lot of, look at Freedom Square, for example. Freedom Park, or whatever you call it, has been constructed in such a way that when you now want to go and have an event there, you have to spend a lot of money bringing in this and bringing in that, when they could have built it one time and put some of that infrastructure in place.
So you're saying that with what's happening with the stadium, is that there no consultation, and the way they're building it, you're not in agreement with it. Well, I want to segue a little bit here into the Caribbean athletics before we close off, because I hear you, Mike, but I remember we were on this program here, and as we were looking at Caribbean athletics, we were saying that Barbados doesn't have a stadium. And somebody could say, well, Mike, they're at least building the stadium now, but that's another discussion for another time. But listen, the boys champs in Jamaica, any of you saw the boys champs
No, I didn't really watch.
No, but I read some of the results. They were murderous. But I was in Jamaica. Hold on. I was in Jamaica in 1995. And to be honest, the stadium at the time didn't look like a a decent facility. It couldn't in no way compared with Barbados Stadium at the time. But yet still, they were producing. The point I want to make is the facilities don't only make you a champ, but they are important. But in South Africa, South Africa's approach to sports has been very modernistic after coming out of apartheid. They approach sports very, very systematically, and the cricketers who were there recently talked about the cricket facilities there that were good, and a lot of thought went into how to get South Africa to be the number one country in the world. And you know, the first thing South Africans did before trying to become the number one, they started to compete against the champs. They brought down Barbados. They brought down the West. They bought up the West Indian players. In other words,
so you're saying it was a systematic approach for their dominance,
strategic.
Strategic. And Jamaica is doing the same thing. I mean, this guy Nkrumah that won the 100 meter finals, boys class 1. Let me tell you, when he was running, you think he's trying to break this record and to be the first, to go sub 10 in Jamaica. He's not focused on the Jamaican champs. He's focused on the world, what's happening worldwide, internationally. That's what they're focused on.
He has a model, Marcy. He has a model. He has Usain Bolt. He has Usain Bolt to look up to. You know what I mean? Barbados have Oba, and where's Oba? Oba is living in the United States. He's not rubbing shoulders with Barbadians to say, well,
and we have Ryan. We also have Ryan here, but let's just watch a little bit of this race before, and then Ryan will come.
I actually have to go. I got a meeting right now.
Yes. Okay. Thank you so much, Ryan, for joining us.
No problem. Thank you.
Marcy, you can cause us to get banned here. You can get us in some good trouble.
Why? let me play this. Let me play this a little bit.
Immaculate is a good name tonight, Joanne, after the sprint double. The Quinella in class 4. All right, I'm going to tell the viewers ahead of time, Spencer, what I was going to tell them after the race. Only 2. That's the world junior record holder, the only 2 in the history of the sport who have gone sub 10 for the 100 meters. Do we see the third?
Yeah. So we also expect great performances from Jaden Reed and DeAndre Daly. I think they should be getting a PB out of this.
Yeah, here's Lawrence Clark. He's from Kingston College, goes in lane 1.
10.55 seconds coming in.
Jamaica College's Hector Benjamin, he goes in lane 2.
10:31, the number 2 man at JC, hoping to score big points now.
Monk Street into this final. Raheem Pinnock representing in the Class 1 boys 100 meter final.
10.40 seconds.
In lane 4. 818. His name is Boaji Nkrumah from Kingston College.
The 7th fastest junior ever to run the 100 meters at 10:02. Jamaica's national junior record holder at 10:02 and the champs record holder at 10:08.
Next to him, DeAndre Daly of Herbert Morrison.
An extremely talented sprinter who should get a personal best tonight. 10.21 seconds.
Yeah. 10:21, a personal best in the semis. Next to him, Jaden Reed from the Cayman Islands by way of Jamaica College.
He's the number 1 man at JC, their top sprinter. 10:24, his personal best to get to this final.
In lane 7 from Manchester, the Cool Hills, Javoon Blair, the central champion.
Extremely talented young man, and we expect a great performance from him. 10.46 seconds.
And rounding out the field, the Penn Relays 4x1 medalist, Junior Harris from Camperdown.
10:41 to get here. Part of the controversy with that false start in heat semifinal 3.
Wait for the cut.
So, again, viewers, expect history to be made right now inside the National Stadium.
Class 1 boys 100 meter final. The record was done in the semifinals by this young man from Kingston College, Bouajian Krumi. He laid down the gauntlet with 10.08 seconds a couple of hours ago. He holds the national junior record at 10.02 seconds. He's on the cusp of history. He's on the cusp of doing something unprecedented in local junior track and field. Will he deliver? We will know in a matter of moments. The set position. It's an electrifying start by Bouaji and Krumi. Daly and Benjamin are chasing relentlessly, and Krumi steps on the accelerator, goes away in grand style. It's a great performance. 997. Wow, we have just seen the first.
Wow. Mike, you're still there. Mike?
What are they eating? And what about the girl that ran? I think she ran 12:08 or something like that. What about the? Oh my goodness! What are they eating?
I'm telling you, this is amazing. It is so amazing. It was like fire there in Jamaica, and you know they're off to Carifta. You know Carifta is starting this weekend. And so we're going to keep everybody abreast of what's happening. You can check the Marcia Week show page to see what's happening with Carifta, because I really support our athletes, and it's something that I don't run. I can't run, Mike, but I support them. And I know you do too. Springer is right there in Barbados. Springer is at the top again, and I'm happy about that. I'm a Springer. Never went to Springer. Didn't go to school in Barbados. I'm from St. Andrew High School. Those of you are watching from Jamaica, but Springer is my school. Because I feel like that's what they have, and I love the fact that they were able to strengthen themselves and to come back and take that medal, take that top spot. And Harrison College, two of my children that's here, they went, so I'm cheering Harrison College all the way, and I'm all in. When it comes on to sports, Mike, I'm all in, 110. I make enough noise. Malia Edwards, I want to give a shout out to Malia Edwards from Springer, and she's on that Carifta team going off to Bahamas. And Mike, have you been following anything with it with them?
I have a boy who was at my school who was he came into the school with potential, but during the school time he was very deviant. And he was very, he objected to running. As a matter of fact, I think one year he stayed home and didn't turn up at all. We had real issues with him, but he was also a good footballer. And last year, I think it was, the school coach, because of COVID, was not using the national stadium for to train, and he was training on the YMPC ground. The YMPC ground happened to be next door to where this guy lived. So he had no excuse. So he ended up coming to training basically every day there was training. Not that it was easy. The court still had to get behind him. But guess what happened? In 6 months, a 17-year-old boy was able to run 48 seconds in the 400 meters. A 17-year-old boy.
Wow. Which school is this?
He is now on the Barbados team at Carifta.
Oh, what's his name? I'm looking at the team
his
now.
name is Amir Gustav. He goes to St. Lucie Secondary School now. But I understand he didn't train as hard this year as he should have. But the point is, and this is a point I want to make. A lot of the clubs are centralized, stadium, Harrison College, Commonwealth, whatever.
Right, he's right here. His name is right here. You're right, Amir Gustav. Yeah. What a story, Mike! I would love to interview him, Mike. I want to get that story, Mike.
What if we were to decentralize some of the track clubs and get them into different villages and so on? Because the problem is that when you leave training on evenings late, you have to go to St. Lucie, you have to go this place, you have to go far. Sometimes they get home at 7 or 8 o'clock in the night, and then have to get your bus at 6 o'clock the next morning. No, that is a tiresome life. But you get people like Obadiah Thompson whose parents would come and pick them up after practice. So Janelle would have to take the bus home. Janelle Ennis would have to take the bus home. So if the government really wants to understand, if it wants to do something, these are things that the government has to take care of. And it isn't that they don't know, because I have made a recommendation. The Ministry of Sports has a document that I gave to them about 7 years ago with all of these things in it, because I've lived the life, I've walked the life, I've seen the pain, I've seen the struggles, I've seen the heartaches. I've been through all of that with all of these different people, with all these different athletes. So I know the struggles. So all the government had to do was to get a bus by the stadium on evenings, and drop the children free down to town or something like that, and so they can get the bus.
Right,
home
just some
very easy.
practical
little things like that.
Little things. I agree. I was watching. Mike, I tell you this now. We're going to have to close now in 2 minutes, and I know you have something I want you to share about. But I was watching that same race with that guy and Krumi from Jamaica. And you know who was in the audience cheering him along? The Prime Minister of the country, the Minister of Culture. Everybody that you could think was anybody was in that stadium. And I turned to Dave and I said, "Now that's what support is." So they saw him, they're part of it. So when he's ready to travel, you think he has to worry about a ticket?
Bahamas, the same thing. When the Carifta athletes came to Barbados, the swimmers, they do it for the swimmers, they do it for the athletes. The swimmers were treated, a minister always travels with the athletes. That year, the Minister of Education traveled with the athletes to Barbados because his son was also swimming. But the Minister of Sports was in Jamaica at the Carifta track and field. Now, when the athletes see a minister there with them, mingling with them and so on, how does that make them feel?
That's the
so
thing,
so the thinking was that they don't walk the walk. They don't talk the talk, they also walk the walk. And when the sports were finished, all of them were treated to lunch at the Brown Sugar restaurant. All of them. And they told me that is what it is, and they have a plane laid on for them. They bring the charter plane, bring them here, and they take them back, and they do that for all of the athletes. They treat them properly. They treat them good. And all of these things I put in documents.
Yeah.
But
it starts there. It starts from that support. But Mike, we have to close. We always have these great conversations. I'm hoping to have another one of these shows, probably early Easter Monday morning before they close out Carifta. But Mike, you have an announcement. You're an ex-coach. Because if people wonder, who does he know all about, all of this stuff? But Mike is also into music. So Mike, can you tell us a little bit about what you are doing?
Yeah, I'm organizing the Barbados Flame Gospel Awards. It is coming off on the 29th of April. And tickets are in the box offices, or you can go online. And there are people who are going to be coming in from Trinidad, Jamaica. A few are going to be coming from the United States to support the event, and we want people to come out and support it, because very often we don't look at our own. We're trying to honor our own and encourage our own. But I can say this much, that 20 years ago, 95 or 99% of the songs that our artists used to do were copies. And I can tell you now that today, 99.9% of the songs that are done by our local Barbadian artists are original songs that they have written and produced. And that, to me, is one of the biggest accomplishments of the award system that we've had over the years, to produce our own. And I just want Barbadians. And look, a few years ago, the top award was the Band of the Year. Everybody wanted to know who won the Band of the Year. Then it was who was the best male vocalist. Then it was the best female. But you know, the most popular award now of all the awards that we have, who is winning the original song of the year? That's the biggest award that we have. That means
that is an accomplishment. And Mike, you need sponsors, because I literally have like 30 seconds. So if people want to support and to buy tickets and so on, I just put up with ticket links. So that was the last year, but it's the same facility. Would you just give me a number that I could put that people
sure. They can reach me at 287-9934 or 232-4595.
4595.
Yeah, 232-4595 or 287-9934. And out of this, we want to go back into the community. So we want to be able to help Barbadians. We want to be able to help our country. So that's why we're asking for the government for assistance. We're asking the BTMI to come on board. We're asking corporate Barbados, and we even Caribbean sponsors that have products in Barbados. You could get in touch with us, and we can make something happen for you.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much, Mike, for coming on. And I want to follow up with you on having some of the winners coming on to the show at some point. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, for joining, for listening today. Those of you who took your lunchtime to watch us. And if you watch the program, you enjoy it, please share it. Share it with others, okay? It's important. This kind of programming is also important. It's not just the controversial issues, but these kinds of programs are important because we're about building up the Caribbean. Yes, and this is important. Our youth, that's the future, all right? God bless you and enjoy the rest of your day. God bless you. Bye-bye.